There are certain friends that you meet in your life that change the trajectory of your course forever. I met Dan Olson at a small school in Canada, and from the moment we both realized we loved music, we found ourselves doing whatever it was we could to be together, enjoying this amazing world we live in. A great deal has changed over the course of the last 25 years, but little has changed in our desire to be near each other, finding new adventures and experiencing the best that the American landscape has to offer. We met each other before any self-respecting woman would be around us. Now we each have families of our own, me with 4 boys and himself with 4 girls. While the distance between our families remains great, we have made efforts over the course of the last 2 decades to connect and have our families get the chance to know one another. We have a great deal in common, and our kids have found a way to really enjoy each other and the times that they have had together. In the summer of 2019, we had the chance to travel to Williamsburg, Virginia, the Olsons by car and the Everetts by plane. We wanted to vacation together, but also to expose our kids to the most incredible living history museums anywhere in America. The United States is unique in world history. It was the perfect confluence of bravery, philosophy, theology, and location. Great men and women came together around the common interest of the rights of humanity and decided that it was time to let self-governance and the individual determine their own fates. Although the revolution has roots in Boston and Philadelphia, one place is truly the seat of the American experiment. Set between the James and the York rivers is a peninsula that harbors an immense concentration of American history. Here you will find the first and oldest successful settlement of Europeans in the New World at Jamestown, the original capital of Virginia in Williamsburg, and the site of victory over Britain in the fields surrounding Yorktown. As we traveled to these places, we were surrounded and infused with the spirits of each of these places, feeling a kindred attraction to the men and women who worked to establish the pathway of the United States and the course of the rights of the individual in all of the world. On this tiny strip of land came ideas and ideals that have changed the course of history and given rise to the most prosperous and free people the world has ever known. Jamestown. The story starts in Jamestown, so we decided it would be best to orient ourselves to the timeline and start our adventures in both the Living History Museum and the National Park along the James River. We saw how the first arrivals made their way across the sea, braving the unknown and the mighty power of the ocean in vessels that no modern man would risk travel in. We saw Native Americans of the Powhatan tribe making boats, arrows, and homes that would survive the harsh elements of Virginia. We saw the early signs of the European settlements and how they dealt with medicine, firearms, and civic life. Thousands of miles from the rule of the monarchy or the influence of modernity. Traveling just a few short miles away, we saw the Glass House, a favorite stop along the way, a place where the art of glassmaking and blowing is still being practiced and shown. Our evening ended by driving through the national park and walking out to the site of the original settlement. This area is almost haunting, seeing the church and the homes of those initial brave people and the land that they call their final resting place put the luxury of our modern living into true perspective. Williamsburg. Colonial Williamsburg is one of the most unique places in America. No place captures the spirit of independence and the vision of enlightenment more than this incredible living history museum. Walking these streets, you almost feel like you have been transported to the time of Jefferson and Henry, debating the concepts of liberty and feeling the impending precipice of war on the horizon. Each site is an in-depth exploration of what the people of this time were doing. From the brickmaker to the cabinet maker, each person demonstrates their small part in the spirit of independence. We walked along the streets, seeing the Brunton Parish Church, the Governor's Mansion, the House of Burgesses. You feel almost transported into the conversation of independence.
Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God! I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty, or give me death.
Our kids had the chance to stomp in the mud to make bricks. Walk through the maze at the palace gardens.
Huzzah! Huzzah!
Listen to the fife and drum corps march across the green. And enjoy the food and music of the era in the taverns in town.
Learned the printing business, became the first Postmaster General of Williamsburg. Her boys moved to Richmond. Miss Vogue purchased this house.
It is a place so filled with the spirit of liberty, you can't help but be swept up in the ideas and fervor of enthusiasm for it all. We filled our days with the programming provided by the Foundation and wandered up and down the streets discussing the amazingness of it all.
When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation.
Is this the button that shows up? Okay. You can actually just snap a picture. Yorktown and Mount Vernon. Two of the better museums in the area are the Yorktown Battle Museum and George Washington's home, Mount Vernon. The last few days of the trip, we spent time in both of these areas, learning about Washington's life and plantation, as well as his finest military conquest at the Battle of Yorktown. It makes you genuinely appreciate the miracle that all of these incredible men of character and wisdom were divinely associated in this time and place. It is said that the struggle for independence would not have been possible without the fire of Henry, the words of Jefferson, and the brilliance of Washington. All equal necessities in the struggle for American independence. To understand that these men and others of equal character and mind were all placed on this small peninsula at the same time in history makes you reverent of God's wisdom and how He used capable men to change the course of human events. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we had some leisure and fun as well. We spent a day at Virginia Beach, playing in the surf and sand, watching dolphins swim out in the sea and enjoying the sun and beach. And no trip would be complete without laughter and silly antics. We enjoyed our nights at the pool, cooking out and visiting about the day and how life has treated us since our last time together. It is the beauty of friendship. Regardless of distance and changes, there is always the common core of brotherhood, that makes us thankful that we were united all those years ago. Seeing our children become friends and companions is a beautiful experience that so few ever get the chance to witness. Thanks, Olsons, for making the effort to get together with us each year. It is a gift to each of us that we have maintained and expanded our friendships with the passing of each year. Here's to our next adventure.